All right, we're going to do this. I'm going to talk about sobriety 10 minutes or less, maybe 12, like the 12 steps. I did not use the 12 steps. And this year, a big fan of the 12 steps, but didn't use them. Here's how I got sober. This year will be 30 years sober, 30. And I'm going to talk about it. So let me paint the picture for you. It's July 1994. Over the course of the weekend, it's July 16th, 17th, my younger brother Matthew may have had too much to drink, had access to a firearm, and died by suicide. I got notified that Monday. I remember I was sitting in my house, and on Monday, well, it was probably about 5 o'clock, my ex-wife was out at a friend's house. The phone rang, and somebody told me, I know exactly what it was. Janice told me, my sister told me that my younger brother Matthew died by suicide, that I needed to come home. So that's Monday the 18th. I go home Tuesday the 19th, just me and my ex-wife. We bury Matthew on the 22nd was the actual service. It was a Friday. I got hammered the night of the 21st, July 21st, 1994. Got hammered, went to the funeral hungover, and never touched the stuff since then. I drove back from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and I had 4 hours to think about it. And everybody hearing my voice right now, you know this. You know this happens. You're at the proverbial fork in the road, and you say, all right, what am I going to do with this information? This is really crappy info. I lost my second brother to suicide in October 1983, October 26, 1983, 11 years earlier. We lost Mark to suicide. And that would have been a really good time to stop drinking. Would have been an awesome time to stop drinking. But I didn't do that. I continued to drink, and at age 30 in 1994, I lost Matthew, and I stopped drinking. And prior to that, just to give you that setup, Matt and I used to get together all the time, and we would get drunk together. It just didn't stop us, the loss of Mark. In fact, it may have exacerbated the situation. And so that Thursday night, I got hammered, and I went home, and I had a little come to Jesus moment. In fact, I was praying to God, and I can't repeat the prayer I said, but I said to God, let's make a deal. I never drink again if you give us a baby. See, at the time, in 1994, I got married in 1992, we were trying to have a baby. And don't get me wrong, brothers and sisters, trying to make a baby is kind of fun, if you know what I mean. If you know how biology works, it's kind of neat to be wanted at least a couple days a month when somebody's ovulating. You are the man. The other 25 days of the month, you're just the guy that takes out the garbage and mows the lawn. But for those couple days, when everything's clicking, you are the man. And my ex-wife at the time, we had since got divorced. We had 2 kids. My ex-wife had a thyroid issue, a little bit of a thyroid issue going on. And when they were done with her, they were going to turn their attention to me. And if you're a guy, you know what that means. You go to the doctors, you give a sample. From some of my friends that had that appointment, it's not the worst doctor's appointment they ever had, as one guy said. It's not the worst appointment. But I wanted to avoid it if I could. They were going to check your sperm motility. I'm like, you know what? I think my boys are fine. Let's get this thyroid fixed. And it worked. The thyroid thing was fixed. So you go back to that July 1994, and a couple months later, either September or October, we're up at my sister's house in up near West Point, Orange County. But we stopped at my parents' house. And this is kind of a cool story. We brought them coffee mugs, and it said, "World's best grandma, world's best grandpa." And we said, "Hey, we got your present, open it up." And that's how we told them we're pregnant. And I'm a man of my word. The following April, Martin was born. Haven't touched the stuff since July 1994. Now, what do? I talk about it all the time, and I've dedicated my life to suicide prevention through my foundation, the Half a Sorrow Foundation. We started the Camo Hat Club through the foundation. We do a lot of suicide prevention programming through the foundation, and we could use your help. If you have any spare change in your sofa or something like that, and you could donate, please go to halfasorrow.org, hit the donate button. We could use your help. I'm proud of the sobriety piece. But I'm going to give you a warning. If anyone's on the struggle bus with alcohol, I'm going to give you a warning. This is what happens when you're sober. It's kind of a good warning, but you got to know this. When you're under the influence of substances, I'll paint a big picture with substances. It could be drugs or alcohol. For me, it was booze. You don't feel anything. You're numb. I was kind of a happy drunk. Here's how I operated. I would get drunk really easy. I was kind of a lightweight. I'd go hard, then laugh a little bit, pass out. Every now and then, this guy came out. He lives in me, who was a total a-hole. He would yell, he would scream, he would fuss. He was an a-hole. It was still Dennis. And I try to keep that guy at bay. So one of my reasons for not drinking was, one, I was depressed. Alcohol is a depressant. But I didn't want that guy to come out, because he lives in me. I'm well on my way to being a curmudgeon. I'm well on my way to being an old raging boomer. Kids, get off my lawn. I can do that sober. I don't need any help with the booze. So stop drinking. And if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, this guy's sober 30 years, he's going to tell me how to live. No, I'm going to tell you to live. That I will tell you, to live. Please live. Don't die by suicide. But I just want to put my life out there as an example of what sobriety has meant to me. Here's the warning. You will feel everything. Remember, when you're on substances, you numb yourself. You will feel great joy when you're sober. Awesome joy. The birth of Martin, the birth of Brendan. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I could do cartwheels those days. It was unbelievable. I went skydiving. I felt it all. You feel it all those great emotions. Flip side of that is you will feel the negative emotions too. The sadness will come, and that's okay. You got to have both. It's this thing called life. If you try to numb the sadness, unfortunately, you will numb the joy and you'll have nothing. So feel them both, appreciate them both, but just be aware of that. When you sober up, you're going to get them both. And they're going to come at you hard. Joy is going to come at you hard. You're going to laugh hard. You're going to do all the stuff you used to do before you got sober, but harder. When you're drinking, maybe you weren't doing that stuff. Maybe you weren't laughing. Maybe you were self-loathing. Maybe you were depressed, dealing with a mental health issue, dealing with a trauma. I don't know about you, but losing 2 brothers to suicide, that's a trauma. That's a trauma in my book. And I didn't need to self-medicate. The other thing I did, in addition to the sobriety piece, I went and saw a counselor, a mental health professional. Whew, those two, that helped. That helped a lot. That helped get me to what? 2024, 30 freaking years. Now, here's why it's a bittersweet anniversary. Everyone goes, oh, you're 30 years sober. Yeah, you didn't do any of the 12-step program. Big fan of that. You didn't do Celebrate Recovery. Big fan of that. You didn't have to go away. No, but I'm a big fan of that. Whatever you do to get on that road to recovery, get on that road. Whatever you do, you do. You do you. I'll do me. But it's also 30 years without my younger brother, Matthew. And that just sucks. See, we were drinking buddies. And one thing I could do if I could go back, I would make it more than 30 years sober. Because then I could see that Matt was on the struggle bus. I was too busy partying with him. I didn't notice. Didn't have those deep conversations. He lost a brother too when Mark died. He lost his older brother. I lost my older brother. We never effing talked about it. I'm going to take that one to my grave. Because that cost us Matthew, in my humble opinion. Because there's other Gillan survivors. I got sisters. How they grieve is how they grieve. But that was on me. I was drinking with Matt, and I could have stopped and said, "Bro, you doing all right? How you doing with Mark's death?" And I never did it. Couldn't talk about it. Couldn't talk about myself. I was grieving too. So there you go. That's what we're talking about. Sobriety, it's not a dead sentence. I have more fun now than I ever did. You can't spell fun without you in it. And I publicly speak about my sobriety in a way that makes sense. I don't come down, oh, you shouldn't drink, you sinners. Yeah, no one's going to listen to that message. Um, but I do remember I spoke at a college, and about a week or two later, this woman got a hold of me and says, "You're a hypocrite. I found a picture on Facebook where you were drinking." I said, "Well, do me a favor, send me that photo. I know I'm sober. Let me see the photo." And it was a picture of me with a bunch of guys from Valley Cottage, Nyack. Um, we just played football over at Rockland Lake, and I had a bottle in my hand, and it was an O'Doul's, the fake beer, zero alcohol. Well, I shouldn't say that, 0.5% alcohol. And to get drunk, I think you have to drink at my weight, if I did the math right, 192 kilograms per centimeter, milligrams, 212 O'Doul's to get hammered. And by that time, you ended the drought wherever you are because you're peeing like a racehorse. So that's the sobriety message. 30 years this year. To help us celebrate, if you could, go to halfasorrow.org, HALFASORROW.org. Make a donation. I'm Dennis Gillan. I promised you 10 minutes. We're coming in on 12 minutes, which is interesting. There are 12 steps to sobriety. I took one giant step and got rocked into it through a trauma, and it could have went either way, folks. Let's be honest. When Matt died, it could have went either way. I could have went harder, drugs and alcohol, and I decided to go sober. And it was a tough decision at first, and now it's the best decision I ever made. And if I could help you along your journey, you let me know. I'm Dennis Gillan, and I approve this message.